We're back in a new episode of WBO Jabs. I'm your host for today, WBO Press Gustavo Olivieri, accompanied by my friend and colleague, sports and boxing renowned journalist, Jose Sanchez Fournier. Jose, what's up?
Hi, Gustavo, and to everybody watching. Good to see you guys.
Welcome to the show. How you been, buddy?
Doing well. Watching a lot of boxing.
Talking about boxing, let's just dive into it, Jose. Breaking news yesterday, social media went in a frenzy with the announcement of Terence Crawford officially fighting Canelo Alvarez in September in Viva Las Vegas, Jose. Give me your thoughts, initial thoughts and impressions of the fight officially taking place.
Big fight of the year candidate, actually. I think we'll be seeing the two of the best fighters at this time. I think Crawford is number one pound for pound, the best fighter we have today. Canelo is one of the best fighters. For the last decade, he's been fighting the best of the best in different weight divisions. I think it's going to be a tough one, especially because Crawford is going to move up in weight 2 divisions. But hey, where there's a will, there's a way. And Crawford, if somebody can do it, it's Terence Crawford.
Let's break it down, Jose. They have similar ages. I think Crawford is 37 years of age.
And Canelo is 34.
Canelo's 34.
But it's not the year, it's the mileage. And
sure.
Canelo has been fighting tough fighters, the best fighters in the world for a decade. So that might be a fact.
Definitely. You also have Crawford is a little bit taller.
5'8" versus 5'7".
5'7".
1 inch height advantage for Crawford.
Crawford has a longer reach than Canelo, but Canelo, once he rehydrates, Jose, Canelo's like a
tank.
A tank.
Yeah.
Whereas Crawford, as well, when he rehydrates, looks in tremendous shape. But definitely, Canelo will be the bigger guy on fight night, Jose.
Crawford will be the taller fighter. He will be the fighter with the longest reach.
Longest reach, yeah.
But Canelo will definitely be the stronger bulkier fighter.
Bulkier guy, yeah.
And that could play in his favor if he decides to use pressure against a smaller Crawford.
We have the matching of styles. Canelo is more a boxer, counter puncher, whereas Crawford is similar, but Crawford can fight southpaw, righty, can adapt during the fight. You never see Terence tired. Not even in the 12th round, opening his mouth. Crawford has a very nice jab, can adapt as the fight goes on. Canelo is more of a pressure boxer, cutting the ring. I think it's a tremendous matchup, Jose.
The way I see it, Canelo is a rare gem in boxing. He is a pressure counter-puncher. So he pressures you into throwing punches where he can counter. You don't see that very often in boxing. However, Crawford can do everything. He can jab from distance. He can fight in the trenches. He can fight left-handed. He can fight right-handed. He can pressure you. He can counter-punch you. He can showboat the hell out of you. So there's nothing inside the boxing ring that Crawford cannot do. So it's going to be a tough one. It's a great fight in paper.
I agree, Jose. Another factor that comes into play is the weight jump from Crawford from 150. Crawford has been fighting since 130, then 135, becoming a 4th-division WBO champion, 135, 40, 47, 54. Now he's making a jump two more divisions, 60 and 68. I heard reports, there's no rehydration clause, Jose. So once that weight limit is set, on fight night, Canelo could be, fighting at below the cruiserweight division.
We are talking about Pacquiao level weight jumps. When Manny Pacquiao was started as a boxer, he was a champion at flyweight, 112 pounds. He jumped to 122, then he did 26, 30, 35, 40, 47, and 54.
Unbelievable.
One of the greatest runs ever in boxing. Crawford is aiming to do the same.
Jose, how do you see that? Have you verified how the bookies have the fight, Crawford Canelo?
No. The experts have it as a plus 155 for Crawford, which means that if you bet $100, you will win 155 in a Crawford victory. In Canelo's side, however, if you want to win $100, you have to bet $185.
So,
which makes him an almost 2-1 favorite.
Yeah, Canelo's the favorite. Crawford's the underdog. No question about that. How about Jose? How about the punching, the punch effects of whether Crawford can certainly have an impact on Canelo with the weight jump?
We spoke about Pacquiao a few seconds ago. Pacquiao was able to carry with his weight almost all the way to 154. Not completely, but almost. Crawford is going to have a big obstacle when it comes to not only carrying his weight, but being able to take the punches of a 168,
That's true.
175.
And Canelo has one of the best chins in boxing.
And he can punch.
He can punch.
And it feels a lot easier to punch a guy 2 divisions smaller than you, which Crawford is against Canelo. So that will be a big obstacle for the man from Omaha, Nebraska.
And that fight is being brought to you by His Excellency Riyadh Season behind Jose, Turkey Al-Sheikh, the mastermind behind the negotiations. Both fighters are getting handsomely paid, Jose. Historic purses. That fight most probably take place in Las Vegas, Nevada, which is Canelo's home base. Most of his world title bouts have been conducted in Las Vegas with all the Mexicans coming to support him. Regardless, you got to see that fight. Great clash of styles. Crawford pursuing to make history once again. Jose, what does the history books tell you, Jose, when a fighter's jumping 2 weight classes at that level, pursuing to become a champion at 168?
Well, the history books say they get killed, except for 2 guys. Manny Pacquiao and the greatest Latin American fighter of all time, Roberto Mano de Piedra Duran.
What about Sugar Ray Leonard, Jose?
Yeah, he's also a good example who went from lightweight like Duran did.
Or welterweight.
No. Duran went from lightweight to welterweight to fight Sugar Ray Leonard.
Sure, he did.
And Shane Mosley went from lightweight to welterweight to fight Oscar de la Hoya. Both of them won. Shane beat Oscar twice. Duran beat Ray Leonard once, and then on the rematch, Ray Leonard had the no mess win. But
and Leonard also, when he moved up to face Marvin Hagler.
But he made a more. I mean, he started at 147, then moved all the way up to 160, which is a difficult venture. But what Crawford is doing is much riskier. I mean, he's moving from 135 all the way to 168.
Yeah.
That's like a a giant fighting with an average size person.
What's your prediction, Jose? Or too early to tell?
It's too early to tell. I cannot count out Crawford. I think Canelo is one of the greatest fighters of all time. There's no doubt about it.
No question. First ballot Hall of Famer.
In my book.
Both.
Yeah, in my book, Crawford is the best fighter pound for pound today. Better than anybody. But I don't know if he can make the jump from 154, where he looked a bit vulnerable against Madrimov.
Yeah, he did. He.
I mean, Madrimov is a great fighter. It's unheralded.
And also, Jose, the matching of styles. Madrimov is a very highly skilled boxer with a tremendous amateur pedigree.
With very little scouting. Very few people knew a lot about Madrimov when he fought Crawford.
The guy
Canelo is very different.
Yeah, sure.
Canelo, you can study his whole career and develop a good strategy, which I think Crawford already did. And that's why he's so confident on wanting to fight Canelo.
Let's see, Jose. That should be a tremendous fight, historic event. Hopefully, we'll make it to Las Vegas in September.
And he's going to have a historic warm-up fight also for Canelo.
And talking about warm-up fight, Jose, today, another breaking news. They announced officially, or reports of a possible agreement of Canelo facing Jake Paul, man.
On May as a tune-up for Crawford.
Give me your impressions, thoughts, comments of Jake Paul entering the Canelo sweepstakes.
Well, looking at the boxing aspect of this, not looking at the media or economic or entertainment aspects, Jake Paul is not apt to carry Canelo's jockstrap, much less fight him. Jake Paul has a record of 0 wins and 1 loss when he fights actual boxers who fight in the same weight division who are active. Tommy Fury beat him by decision. Everything else is done in boxing is fight an almost 60-year-old Mike Tyson, fight MMA, skateboarders, NBA players, you name it, who are much older, much smaller than he is, and who have no reason except money to be on the ring. However, like Joe Frazier used to say, every opponent has two hands and two feet.
Yeah.
You cannot underestimate anybody, especially a guy like Jake Paul, who shows up in great shape. I mean, you cannot fault him for
and puts the work
for training.
in. Yeah, puts the work in.
And he's a strong guy. You know, he's a strong kid. So and Canelo is risking a lot because a punch can come from anywhere and drop you. And if he doesn't, spank Jake Paul, he will lose some luster.
Credibility.
Yeah.
100%. But regardless, Jose, we're living...
It's a huge fight.
Jose, we're living different times, you know. We adapt to the new trends.
I refuse to adapt.
I know, you're a purist. I'm also a purist, but at the same time, either we adapt to the times or we become obsolete.
And also,
nonetheless, Jose, that does not mean that the WBO will not abide and enforce consistently its rules. The question now that comes into play, and the fans will be watching, are, the way we properly enforce our rules as to whether Jake Paul has the merits to be rated and fight for a title. We have to see if the Canelo-Jake Paul fight will be a world title fight
non-title bout,
or whether it will be a non-title bout. As to the WBO, Jake Paul and his team will determine whether they want to pursue contesting the world titles at stake, being the WBO, the WBA, and the WBC championships, which Canelo currently holds because he relinquished the IBF when the IBF forced its mandatory, which now the vacancy was filled by the Cuban fighter William Skull, a relatively unknown world champion. So now the question begs to consider whether the WBO's rating committee will grant a world rating in the top 15 to Jake Paul, in which weight category, because we haven't yet been confirmed as to if this fight will be at a catch weight.
Jake Paul fights up to heavyweight.
So that's another factor to consider. But let's say the scenario is that the fight will be conducted at 168. So
will they be 3-minute rounds, or will Jake Paul ask for 2-minute rounds?
That's another factor.
Like he did for the Tyson fight.
So it remains to be seen. But Jake Paul, if he wants to fight for a world title, his team has to petition a world rating, and they would have to argue their merits, and the ratings committee will have to consider and determine. To be rated in the WBO, you have to comply with the ABC ratings criteria, which is the Association of Boxing Commissions of the United States, and the WBO ratings criteria. That's a decision that the ratings committee will take into account when appropriate. So at this time, it's too premature, but we shall see, Jose, what happens.
It will definitely be a big event. And imagine
it will.
If Canelo beats Jake Paul, which he should, but he is no guaranteed to do. If he beats the wheels of Jake Paul, his fight with Crawford becomes even greater. Because he will be coming with all the haters. The Jake Paul haters will
be followers
on his bandwagon. The fans of Jake Paul, who are generally not boxing fans, will jump on the Canelo fan base, and will make the fight with Crawford in September even a bigger event. That's
without question. Jake Paul is a marketing machine, very smart kid from a business and entertainment standpoint. His
and branding, he's a fighter.
He's putting the work, he's developing. But again, there are levels to this game.
Exactly.
And Canelo is at the highest peak, even when he's not, he's on what's the word? There's a phrase, on the twilight of his career.
Exactly.
Canelo. But Jake Paul, Canelo, it should be a tremendous event. Like you say, Jose, new eyeballs coming to the sport. The haters, the followers that Jake Paul has on his social media. Jake Paul is a powerhouse from an entertainment and sports and social media standpoint. So we have to see that fight. Probably that fight either takes place in Las Vegas or in Texas, which Jake Paul recently I think the capacity in the Dallas Cowboys field is over 80,000 fans. I was there where Tyson fought Jake Paul. Tremendous event. I had never seen a production of that level, even in comparison with the Riyadh season. So we shall see who will be the promoter of record. Is it MVP Promotions, Canelo Promotions, a co-promotional deal, the network, whether it will be Netflix, Amazon, yeah. Both streaming networks working together, like when Pacquiao and Mayweather fought. You had Showtime and HBO, and I think it's till to this day, Jose, one of the most watched and highest gates in professional boxing.
I was there. It was a big fight, big letdown too.
Yeah.
But for viewership, cable viewership, it's the highest ever rated.
So it remains to be seen. So now let's flip it to the women's side, Jose. Last Sunday, Claressa Shields made history again, becoming undisputed world champion at the heavyweight division. She fought Danielle Perkins, a relatively unknown professional boxer. The fight was conducted in Claressa's home state, Michigan. I think it was a sold-out crowd of over 5,000 fans. Did you watch the fight, Jose?
Yeah, Claressa is on another level when it comes to female boxing. She's a great athlete who also happens to be a great boxer. We don't always get the two together in the same mold, but Claressa is there, which is to her detriment because she's so good. She hasn't been able to show us how good she really is.
Her true potential. Yeah. Claressa fought
Danielle Perkins.
Danielle Perkins, relatively unknown fighter. But unfortunately, Jose, in those weight categories on the female side, heavyweight, cruiserweight, light heavy, super middleweight, there's simply not enough depth, no competition, and you need a dancing partner.
And there's not only no competition for Claressa, there are not enough great fighters in those weights to face each other so that an opponent can rise.
100%. There's no supply, like supply and demand. There's no supply, unfortunately
yeah.
in comparison to other divisions like featherweight,
lightweight, junior
welterweight, 47, even with Mayer and Ryan. And the big names, you need a big name to solidify your career from a marketing and exposure standpoint.
To become a big name, you need a big name.
You need a big name, and that's unfortunately that's the
reality.
That's the reality regarding Claressa Shields' accomplishments, which are historic. But at the same time, if you ask any John Doe fan, he doesn't know who Danielle Perkins is. Whereas with Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor, that's a reality. That's a fact. Also.
Because they each had the opponents to rise independently and then face each other.
But we have to keep supporting Claressa. She has a huge and incredible backstory.
A great fighter.
A great person inside and outside the ring, Olympic gold medalist. She keeps making history. She's very loyal to the WBO, so we take my hat off.
Tip her hats, sir.
We got to keep promoting her, and congrats to Salita Promotions. Providing a platform for women's boxing. So we shall see what's next for Claressa, Jose, because she's dominated all those divisions. Either she comes down to face Savannah Marshall in a rematch, or Franchon, former undisputed 168. There's the difference.
Too wide a gap between Claressa and her opponents.
Could you imagine Amanda and Claressa fighting each other? But
the weight's not there.
Not there.
But then when Crawford fights Canelo, who knows? Anything's possible.
Who knows? But
it's very, very difficult.
Very difficult. But let's see. Jose, so to close the show, this episode, we were at your house. Thank you for the hospitality. We were watching Benavidez and Morel. Jose, but the fight of the night was the two Mexicans.
Isaac Cruz and
the Pitbull Cruz, 140-pounder, is Tashiro Fierro. One from Tijuana and the other from, I think, Ciudad Mexico.
DF.
Oh, my God, Jose. What a war. 12 rounds, back and forth. 12 rounds or 10?
It was 12, I think.
I think 12 rounds, yeah. What do you, give me your thoughts and impressions.
Isaac Pitbull Cruz showed that even though he's a bit worn from his better days, and he's always in very good fights, he still has the guts, the pantalones heft,
the balls, Jose. You have to say it.
to go and make a great fight. And his opponent was also up to the challenge, even though he felt. I mean, it was a great fight. It was a great fight of the night.
No jabs, Jose. Power punches all night, all night. You know, back and
swinging
forth.
For the fences.
Swinging for the fences. It was a great fight. Two Mexican warriors. Congrats to them and their teams. But the main event, Jose, another war, but with different type of feel, clash of styles. Benavidez, 175, and David Morel, the southpaw slicker puncher, nice jab, lateral movements, and Benavidez, the monster, just pressure, cutting the ring, throwing hooks and bodies to punches to the body. How did you see that fight, Jose?
It was a good scrap. Morel was up to the challenge. He even dropped Benavidez in the 11th round. But Benavidez
it was a flash knockdown, Jose.
Benavidez won the fight clearly on my book.
That fight was 8-4. You know?
Yeah, but that's the way I had it, 8-4, 8 rounds to 4
for Benavidez.
But Benavidez showed that even though he's a gutsy fighter, he's still number 3 at the 170 pound division because Beterbiev and Bivol both are, I think over their Benavidez when it comes to ability and
I concur with your assessment. I think if Benavidez fought today, Beterbiev and Bivol, both of them would beat Benavidez. Bivol would be, a shutout because of his boxing style and technique. Bivol can take a punch, and we saw that with Beterbiev. And Beterbiev, he's a machine. One punch or the how do you say, Jose? The flurry of punches, and that accumulates as the fight progresses, can take a toll on Benavidez, who we've seen that he's vulnerable to taking punches.
He has chinks in his armor. Yeah, he does take a punch pretty well, unfortunately.
But at the same time, Benavidez becomes a new player in the division because you need more opponents. Yeah. You have there now Benavidez. You have there Anthony Yarde, who has done tremendously against Beterbiev and Kovalev in the past. You have Boatsi, Callum Smith, other light heavyweight contenders coming up.
But from all of those, I think Benavidez jumped up to the front of the line with victory over Morel.
Yeah, he did. And he has a big profile. Yeah. He's in America. So we shall see. So, Jose, we have to close the show. I have to get ready. I have some commitments going next week to New York at the Madison Square Garden Theater. I'm going to see Xander Saya, Jose. Number 1 at 154 WBO ratings. Who knows if this year he gets a title shot.
I spoke to Tito Trinidad. We had brunch with him.
Oh, how's Tito doing?
He's doing very well. He sends his regards. And he says he sees Xander as a world champion.
How do you see Xander?
Well, you got to see the opponent he faces, for the title. He has his ability. He's more of an athlete than a purebred boxer, but he has the ability and the heart and the desire. And Tito tells me he trains really hard. So, I mean, if Trinidad says so, you have to take his word for it.
100%. No, Trinidad knows better than anybody.
Yeah, of course.
Excuse me. Now, the question is, who will Xander face?
Exactly.
Because you got Fundora there. You got Crawford as interim champion. If Crawford moves up to fight Canelo, which is already in the works, let's see if he, after the outcome of that fight, whether Crawford comes back. You also have that big puncher in the IBF, Murtasaliev, who knocked out Tim Tszyu. I think that Xander has a real chance against Fundora.
Yeah, I agree.
Because of the clash of styles. Xander can box, the young guy. Fundora has some wear and tear coming after big fights against, Tim Tszyu and Brian Mendoza, who knocked out Fundora. But it's a matter of time to give Xander a chance. And he's been progressing. So also on the card, we have 2 regional title bouts as well. And Juanmita Lopez.
Yeah, he's fighting.
Juanma Lopez,
I covered his father's career ever since he was an amateur up until the end of his career. Juanmita is not the puncher that his father is, but he's a much better boxer. And he has that spark in his eye that tells you the kid has the goods. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. It's a big promise.
We're calling that week, Jose, WBO New Bloods. Yeah. That's the theme. We have 4 title bouts. Keyshawn Davis,
It's a very good.
The most impressive contender the last few months.
Yeah.
He's pursuing his first world title shot for this baby right here against Darius Berinchyk, lightweight division, which is hot again with Keyshawn and the new players. Xander Saez, the co-main, defending his NABO regional title. Two other undercard fighters, Rohan Polanco against Giancarlo Lobo Torres for the Latino belt, and Vito Milnicki, a rising contender at the middleweight, which we need more middleweights coming up since Munguia left the middleweight division, and Canelo and Golovkin as well, and Juanmita Lopez. So we have WBO New Bloods next week. So tune in on ESPN and follow us on all social media outlets, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I call it Twitter, Jose. I don't call it X, you know? That's Elon Musk, your friend.
Oh, yeah. And actually, yeah. My good friend.
And our WBO website, WBOboxing.com. So thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Jose, ready for your jab? Are you a southpaw or righty?
Well, I'm a southpaw. I used to fight as a right-hander. So.
Okay, like Crawford, you switch.
Well, I wish I were like Crawford.
Okay, guys. So thanks for tuning into the show. And this is another episode of WBO Jabs.